Hello, welcome to Two Guys Tech. I am John, and this is Rich. Actually, this is our guest host, Aaron. I forgot to change this. You may know Aaron from a couple of our videos. He did a PC build for your new computer, and he was the cameraman for our computer chair build. So, Aaron, welcome.
Hey, thanks. Thanks
Appreciate
for having
you
me.
doing this.
Glad to fill in.
Yeah, absolutely. This is awesome.
Should be fun.
So, we do a weekly show about this week's tech news. So, topics for today. What do we got? I think we've all heard about this. NASA's Opportunity has stopped talking, and it is officially dead. It actually stopped talking to NASA about 8 months ago, and they're kind of hoping that the batteries are charged again. Maybe the wind will kick off some more dust off the solar panels. And now that winter's here, they're finally like, there's no way this thing is going to survive the winter because it has to have a little heater that keeps the batteries warm, and then it can't even talk to us till the winter's over. So, stinks. I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this a little earlier. This is you know, kind of what, early 2000s was when this thing launched, and it was a big deal. Yeah. There were pictures all over the internet. It was super huge news for anybody who's into space and technology and that kind of stuff. It was kind of a big deal at the time.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. I mean, it sent us pictures of Mars. It was actually helped us find out that there was water on Mars' surface at some point.
Right.
Something I forgot to leave out 8 months ago when it... no, hi, Michelle. We have a live chat. I did not put that up. Help me out here.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Hey, look! There we go.
Yes,
right,
web chat's up.
All right, Rich normally does the titling and stuff. So 8 months ago, there was this giant storm. It was 15.8 million square miles in size. And ever since then, it kind of just stopped communicating. So, giant storm that we're...
15.8 million miles. I mean, that the concept of that is not even... No. I can't even think of how large that is. But I guess that's Mars, right? Like, just massive storms. Yeah. Inhospitable planet.
And that's part of the reason it lasted for so long was... You know, they expected, dirt to collect on top of the solar panels, and the wind is so severe there, like, it just kept the solar panels clean for 15 years. Yeah,
it's interesting how that was a self-sustaining thing. The same thing that causes the dirt to build up actually would clean it for it. That's pretty crazy.
So it traveled 28 miles, and it basically turned what NASA thought would be 90 days into 15 years. So, pretty amazing. I'd say we definitely got our money's worth.
Yeah, I mean, when you figure you're expecting 90 days of information, and you get 15 years, you can lose information in other areas and still say, hey, we got our money's worth on that one. And 28 miles for a tiny little rover that takes pictures is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is super slow. Like, it's like half a mile an hour or something like that.
Well, I mean, like we said, it's recharging its batteries, solar, and sometimes it stops for probably days, maybe even weeks at a time.
Yeah, I mean, imagine a 15-year-old laptop's battery is still getting good. Or last year's iPhone.
Even a 2-year-old phone.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anything out of it. It's going to be so slow.
Of course, I doubt there's a conspiracy that NASA's like making phones' batteries die.
There's probably one somewhere. There's probably one somewhere.
It could have lasted 20 years.
Opportunity never would have lasted that long. Yeah.
All right. So, I mean... Bad news, but it's still cool that it lasted that long.
It is sad news. It is sad news because, like I said, that was early 2000s. I remember that news, and it was like groundbreaking at the time. Everybody was super excited about it. Yeah.
All right. What else do we have?
All right. Nintendo has a pretty solid lineup coming up this year for Switch. So, starting with Mario Maker 2, comes out in June. Okay. June of this year. If you're not familiar with Mario Maker, it was a very popular game that allowed you to take Mario and basically create your own levels. And you could do some crazy stuff with this. The levels that people would build were just insanity. You could go and watch these videos of Mario Maker.
These impossible levels.
Yeah, well, and we were talking about this earlier, and I said there were times where you're watching this video and it's almost like Mario... It's almost like the person's not even controlling Mario. He's just progressing because of what he's bouncing off of all the time. Yeah. It's a really weird concept. Yeah. But they're introducing some new things. It looked like they were going heavy into Super Mario World, which is the Super Nintendo version. Awesome. Which was a lot of fun. Yeah. And so they have slopes that you can build. If you remember that, they had like the giant bullet bills and things like that.
Yeah.
And some craziness in there.
Super Mario's SNES is my favorite. So.
Yeah, I mean that one was awesome, and you had the cape with the feather, stuff like that. Some really cool suits and stuff. So that should be pretty interesting. Another one that was one of both of our favorites, Zelda Link Awakens, that came out in 1993. That's 25 years ago.
Wow.
It was a Game Boy game. They are going to redo that, and it should be out sometime this year.
That I'm excited about.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun, just because I think we talked about it earlier. I played that on a Game Boy that belonged to my cousin. I didn't have my own Game Boy as a kid, and I think I played it for like 2 days straight. I just barreled through it, and it was so much fun. It kind of introduced me to the Zelda style of finding the different items and having to trade them to people and to get different things, and it was really cool. It was a very involved game.
Yes.
A lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So look for that one. I will definitely be getting that one on my Switch.
It looks like it's going to be a very faithful rendition too.
I hope so, because that's one thing that I will say Nintendo always has going for them, especially with, Zelda games.
Yeah.
They tend to stay pretty faithful. Sometimes too faithful even, like to the point that they're just mirroring themselves. Yeah. But in this situation, it'll probably be really good. And then, are they releasing a Battle Royale game? Is this a Nintendo twist on Battle Royale? Tetris 99 will be available. Actually, it is available.
Today, I think.
Today.
Yeah.
As a Switch exclusive. Happy Valentine's Day with your Tetris. You can compete against 99 other players. So, not your traditional Battle Royale. Michelle, yes, we did date ourselves. Thank you for that.
Speak for yourself, good sir.
So compete against 99 other players. That's kind of cool. We talked about it a little bit before, and my question was, I wonder if all 99 players are using the same blocks. Do they get the same setups? Yeah. Is it all happening in real time, and you're getting the same pieces to see who can survive the longest?
Good question.
Or is it all random generated and you each have your own?
Yeah.
I might check this one out. I might get it on my Switch and see what it is, because I know the wife loves Tetris, so might be even something her and I can play together.
Dude, I'd love to play Tetris again.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
So that should be pretty cool. And then a brand new franchise called Astral Chain was announced from a company called Platinum Games. Platinum Games made the Bayonet series. I know it's very popular. I may have played one of them, but I don't remember really too much about it.
It's a huge following, though.
Yeah, you were saying they have a pretty big cult following, and just like I do remember seeing some Bayonet stuff all over the internet. So let's hope that they can put out something else really good with Astral Chain. Another one that really piqued my interest was Final Fantasy VII. Is supposed to be out March 26th, so in just a little over a month. We talked about this. Final Fantasy it's not as popular as it once was. I think there's still popular games, but Final Fantasy VII was like the game that kind of revolutionized that style that Final Fantasy had.
Like, you'd hear about it. Like,
yeah.
There'd be a lot of hype.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we had a couple friends that were just super, super into it at the time. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what a re-release of that looks like. Yeah. I'm pretty intrigued to give that a try. And then Fire Emblem is another really popular series. That's coming out July 26th. So really a solid lineup for the Switch.
Yeah.
And something for everybody there. A little bit of a multiplayer game, not maybe what PC shooters, people who are into that kind of thing are looking for, but something that you can compete against other people with. So, and some really good single player titles that we talked about this a little bit before that, that's kind of what people are looking for, is some of those strong single player titles. Yes. And yes, they are re-releases, but there's some younger generation who haven't played these.
Yeah, and I'm sure they still hold up.
Yeah, I would think so. So it'll be interesting to see how successful some of these are on the Switch.
And Nintendo's really bringing it this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see where they go. I mean, this is only through July, So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what their Christmas lineup looks like.
That's what I was just gonna say.
So,
Let's see the holiday lineup.
Yeah, exactly. Should be some pretty good stuff coming out of there.
Awesome.
Yeah, right on.
All right. So speaking of games, let's look at Blizzard Activision. So what is Blizzard known for besides our whole childhood? I mean, seriously.
I'm maybe not childhood, but for sure late teens and all of my 20s. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of great games.
Yeah.
So there's no new games coming for 2019. There's a couple announced ones that are rehashes, kind of we're just talking about Nintendo, WoW Classic, and there's going to be Warcraft 3 Reforged, kind of remastered.
Exciting.
So no new IP this year, and they did just announce that they had record profits for last year, so that is awesome. They haven't really had a lot of positive news lately, especially right after they announced having the best profits ever, that they are laying off 8% of their workforce. So they fired 775 of their employees.
This is America. We have record profits.
Right.
Now it's time for layoffs.
Right. So, I don't know. We've kind of been talking about how Blizzard hasn't had a lot of positivity lately, especially with buying a Chinese company and then Chinese mobile game and making it the new Diablo. Basically,
yeah, I don't think that went over very well with
no, not
with
at all.
people who are. The problem is I think people were clinging to, just like we were, kind of the Diablo 2, how good of a game that was to us and how much we loved it. And even though Diablo 3 was a disappointment, I still feel like a lot of people believed in the Diablo franchise.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And the Diablo Immortal announcement was not a good look for them. Just because I think it really kind of poo-pooed all those good feelings that we thought might, I think a lot of people thought the announcement was going to be either a remaster of a Diablo 2 or a new Diablo entry.
Right.
And it technically is a new Diablo entry. It's not the one that people wanted, for sure.
No, but hey, we all have phones, so...
We do all have phones, this is correct.
Yeah. So, again, going kind of in the bad news, last year, the co-founder of Blizzard actually stepped down, and he was like the face of Blizzard. You see this guy, and you know like something exciting was going to come up, because the only time you ever saw his face was like, hey, new Diablo, great upgrade to WoW, whatever.
He wasn't the like you're gonna see him every day. He was the like we've got a big announcement.
Yeah.
And this is it. And you see Michael Morhaime, and that was who he was. He kind of was what Blizzard is, and so that was kind of a blow for them.
Right, and basically I kind of get it because all these companies are having a downward trend right now, and everyone is blaming Fortnite. So this has me a little concerned that they're like, hey, let's put everything on hold and come out with our own version of Fortnite.
Right.
And Activision really, Bungie left recently, and they took Destiny with them. So really the only games Activision has now is Call of Duty and Spyro.
Spyro, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. And
no worries.
2 games, essentially. And then you got no new games coming out for Blizzard this year. So not looking that great.
And Call of Duty, well, still, I think they're still pretty popular.
It's not what it used to be.
I mean, it's an older franchise for sure. And they don't have anything fresh.
Yeah.
There's nothing fresh. I mean, Blizzard has Overwatch, right?
Yeah.
And Overwatch is it's not a battle royale, but it's their MOBA game.
Close,
it's their, it's kind of their, I would say their cash cow right now, just because it's the competitive game that they've got that people are into. But other than that, they haven't released new content, like a new exciting, shiny game.
Yeah.
I swear every time they say they're going to release one, they cancel it.
Yeah.
Is what it feels like. And so...
Yeah, that's true. They've done it in the past, though, too. I mean, StarCraft was announced like 3 years before it came out, and it's based on the Warcraft 2 engine, and then they scrapped the whole thing to recreate it. So I mean, that's how dedicated Blizzard used to be, and that's how they were known for making great games.
Right.
On the plus side out of all this, hey Jamie, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Is next year they are planning on increasing their development resources by 20%. So they are actually reinvesting in future projects, which is really hopeful.
Yeah.
One last thing we'll add, I skipped over, is last year they did $7.5 billion in profit, and they only have $6 billion in profit projected for this year. So, I mean, they're...
Well, it's that American
infinite profit
style that we talked about. You have investors, and you always have to continue to make more money. If you're not growing, you're losing investors and you're losing money.
Infinite growth. It's
never
exactly. Fine. You can't plateau.
You're never. That's exactly it. You can't go backwards and you can't stop. You have to be continuously, and the only way that they're going to be able to do that is with, reinvesting some of that money to create some new.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at some of these awesome IPs, like, I mean, not really IP, but you look at like Blizzard that got bought. I mean, you look at BioWare that got bought, and these guys make some amazing games, but you kind of start to realize that there's so much time and money put into these games that they start realizing before the project's over, we can't afford to release this game.
Right.
And that's why these companies are getting bought up. It's not like they want to be bought. So it's kind of a necessary evil, unfortunately. But, anyhow.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how it goes in that business, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, continuing on the game trend, there is a hot new game called Apex Legends. Some of you may have even played it. I do know some people that have played it. John, you and I both kind of talked about we haven't really got a chance to yet. We both
have it downloaded.
Yeah, I have it sitting on the computer at home. It is free to play, so there's talk of, is this going to be the Fortnite killer battle royale game? So Apex Legends, it already has exceeded 25 million players.
Wow.
And I think I read, was it 2 million concurrent, like, at one time already? And it's only been out for, like, a couple of weeks. A week and a half, something like that. A lot of hype around this game. One of the things that makes it kind of unique is it's by the creators of Titanfall.
Okay.
So Titanfall was a very, very popular game. And it had a great combat system that people liked. So they tried to kind of move some of that over, incorporate a little bit of that, but still keep it as its own style of game. Right. A lot of battle royale games tend to be loot-based and RNG-based, where you drop in, you have to pick up weapons that you find. It's, kind of luck sometimes. Sometimes you can't find a weapon, or you can't find a good weapon very, very quickly, and somebody else does, and you're done. This is supposed to be a little bit more team-based, squad style. You can only play in 3-man squads.
Okay.
There's no duo or solo play yet.
Right.
So that's kind of different in that you really have to work with your team. And I believe it's kind of somewhat class-based.
Oh.
So you pick a class and they have their own skills, and you have to incorporate that with each other. So saying that, they're saying that this has more of an opportunity to be a true competitive game that could potentially be esports competitive.
Oh.
Maybe. At least that's kind of the idea behind it.
I'm sure they want it to be. So.
Right. I think every game that's competitive wants to be esports capable. Yeah. I think this game lends itself more to that. When I was reading about it, it sounded almost like a mix between like a battle royale and like say a MOBA game, like an Overwatch, or a League of Legends or something, to where it really is about coordinating with your team. It's about positioning. It's about using your skills correctly, and things like that. So you don't even have to be the best player and hit all your shots or be able to aim terribly well to be able to support your team. So to me, that concept sounds great.
Yeah.
And I think I would be really interested in it, and I think it could potentially launch these guys.
Awesome.
We'll see what kind of damage it can do to Fortnite.
I'm definitely ready for a new game. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we talked about the aspect of one of the downsides could be it's free to play.
Yeah.
If you don't have friends that you're grouping up with in a squad, it's going to squad you up with randos.
Okay.
So free to play 12-year-olds, it could be a thing. You could end up with some younger people that might go ragey or just not care. They might,
typical online game then.
Right. Classic online gaming. So, it has its pros and its cons, and I'm kind of excited to give it a try. We'll see if I get a little bit of time here in the next couple weeks. Like we said, it's only been out a week. That really doesn't give us a whole lot of time to play it.
Guess we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, next topic, Walmart. So Rich and I talk a lot about automation and the future of people's jobs being replaced. retail workers and truck drivers are kind of first on the chopping block because that's technology that's like here right now. So Walmart actually released a report based on data supplied by the McKinsey Global Institute, and let's skim over this really quick. Basically, Walmart realizes that automation is going to take jobs, and they're well aware that they're doing their part to get quickly into home automation. Sorry. Hey, Katie. Automation. And some things Walmart's working on is automated inventory management systems, automatic self-checkouts, not what they have now, like actual automatic self-checkouts, automated mop robots. Yes, automated mop robots.
So when you say not automated like they have now with self-checkout, so there's nobody manning it, correct?
Yeah, period. Like
now,
completely automatic.
Now, does that mean, I still scan my own stuff.
Yeah.
Correct?
They probably want a more Amazon-based scan system.
Okay.
But regardless, they're less employees.
Right.
So they're becoming aware of this. They're looking a little farther ahead, unlike a lot of companies. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to think like Walmart's being self-serving here.
They usually are.
Right. And so a few things that they would like the government to help them out with, and that was the purpose of this report. Just a few bullet points that kind of caught my eye here. Obtaining federal investment in rural business development. Getting government and universities to fund job retraining and reskilling alongside corporations. Having the government build out more physical infrastructure like public transit and broadband so displaced workers can access new jobs. You know, urban sprawl, people need easier access to getting to their job. Having public education institutions offer automation-friendly job training programs. So they're looking for the government to fund this stuff. And it's easy to be like, okay, Walmart, like, come on, you guys are saying you're replacing jobs. Why you want the government to basically help your customers have money to spend in your store? But, you know, you got Amazon buying Whole Foods, and they've straight out said they want everything to be automated.
Well, and you know, I have to say, as much as we talk about how evil Walmart is and how horrible they are, these things that they're talking about wanting the government to invest in are not horrible things.
No, it needs to happen. So.
Yeah, these are things that a good company would want, you know, like not just because they want the money, you know, but reskilling alongside corporations, finding job retraining, you know, things like that. Those are things that the government needs to be looking at long term anyway.
Yeah.
So for them to push those sort of things, transportation, all of that is all extremely important to the future of the country in general.
Yeah.
So I can't really crap on Walmart on this one for them wanting to do these things that this, I think that's a right direction.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have customers make money to spend there. And Walmart is the largest employer in the United States, so a lot of their customers actually work at Walmart.
Right. But, so they understand that they're going to be losing money by automating things. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting to see if they're doing that.
Right.
So, I mean, no one else seems to be doing it right now, so we'll see if anything happens of it.
Absolutely.
All right, what do you got?
All right. So next, we've got some Tesla software updates. Tesla is releasing some software updates for their vehicles. 2 new modes called Dog Mode and Sentry Mode. Dog Mode is essentially if your dog is in the vehicle during the summertime, people like my own wife at home want to bash your window in and let your dog out because your dog is the temperature is going to be ridiculous,
right? And
your dog's going to die or be, you know, hurt.
Yeah.
So the dog mode, you can leave your dog in your car, keeps the temperature at a comfortable level. Mm-hmm. It'll actually show the temperature of the cabin on a large touch screen on the dash so that people looking in can see, okay, it's actually a pretty reasonable temperature in there. And it also displays a note saying that the owner will be back soon.
That's awesome.
So I think who really thinks of that? That's actually something pretty innovative. Yeah. Because it's a common thing that people are upset about, or that people want to be able to leave their dog in their car. So this kind of gives them the option to do that and have it, you know, be okay.
In most cars, you can tell if it's running because they're gas.
Right, you like, can't
the car's running,
right.
The air conditioner's on. Like a Tesla are already silent, just sitting there. So
exactly.
I think that's pretty cool.
Exactly. So they kind of overcame that fact that you wouldn't know it's running by saying, hey, this is the case.
Awesome.
And then Sentry Mode, I think this is the really cool one. Puts your car into a standby state. It monitors the environment around the vehicle using many onboard cameras.
Okay.
And then if a minimal threat is detected, like someone comes up and leans on your vehicle,
Okay.
the car will switch to what's called alert mode. A message on the central display informs anyone looking into the vehicle that they are being monitored and recorded.
Oh.
So, that'll let them know to probably shouldn't sit on my car. And then the final state is the alarm state.
I think it's cool.
This is triggered when damage is caused to the vehicle, windows broken, something like that. At this point, the brightness of the central display goes way up. And then the music is played at maximum volume through the audio system, so it kind of blares the music. And then at the same time, obviously the car alarm is triggered, and then it alerts the owner.
Right.
It says, hey, your car's under
awesome.
attack. Which is an interesting way to put that, but
Tesla's all about the funny movie wording.
Exactly. And then you can also insert a USB stick into the car before you activate Sentry mode. That actually allows the video to be recorded, and it starts 10 minutes prior to the threat. So it's like a looping, it'll kind of store that information. So,
right. There's cameras all over that car, so
yeah,
it's kind of like a porch camera for your car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a safety mode, and I think that's really cool. And just the fact that it will alert you to those things, and these are, these modes they come over in free software updates,
which is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, what car do you have? They're like, hey, it's a software update. It drives itself. A couple years later, like, hey, people are smashing windows in for dogs.
Right.
Like,
right. This is stuff that comes with your purchase of a vehicle. I mean, they're saying, Model 3, these modes should be available this week. And then Model S and Model X owners are next on the list, as long as it was built after August 2017. So we're talking about anything within the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Basically, for Tesla is going to get these updates. And that's
something they didn't advertise when you bought the car.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting consistent updates to a vehicle that you bought 2 years ago. I don't get that with my vehicle. Like, the only update I get is when there's a recall and it's going to cause major problems.
Yeah.
They're giving basically extra features, which is refreshing to see from. I mean, I guess if you're going to pay that much money, it's nice to get
extras.
Nice to get those extras from from them. But yeah,
cool. All right, next topic. Let's talk about Russia. I'm not even going to say Mother Russia in an accent. It's just not going to happen. All right, so Russia's been in the news a lot about other countries causing problems with social media, stirring the pot, especially with our last election.
Is that a thing?
I know, weird.
Has that been?
No,
I haven't heard anything about it.
So just basically turning people against each other, in our democracy. And so Russia was kind of like, hey, this could happen to us. They don't have a democracy. They have one leader. Obviously, it's in their interest, his interest,
right,
to not have something happen like
supposedly,
in Egypt, where Twitter basically helped cause a uprising. So they are going to turn off the internet for a little experiment, just seeing if they can shut themselves off from the rest of the world. This is going to happen in a couple of weeks. There's not a lot of details because obviously they're not.
Are they doing this for all of Russia? This is like
the entire country.
What happens if you can't get the internet back on?
Oh, it's not like Russia has to reset their one router.
Yeah, they gotta unplug and replug the router. Wait 10 seconds.
I don't know. I mean, we don't really need to go into too much detail about this, but it's interesting to see what's going to happen, and it's just funny because they're doing all this stuff, and they're like, yeah, we don't want it to happen to us, which makes sense, but
it's a wormhole of concepts in that really the entire world, and again we'd be naive if we didn't think that our country was also engaging in some sort of internet warfare, and cyber attacks and things like that. I think that's the future of espionage. That's the future of. I mean, obviously, that's where the world is headed, and so Russia, knowing what people will do because they are huge. They're huge conspirators themselves of those sort of things. Are probably trying to watch their own backs and watching for the backlash of the things that they've done.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
we'll see. And then, yeah, I mean, it's a can of worms. You know, when you talk about China and their
great firewall.
Yeah, their firewall and the way that they just everything is censored and everything is controlled.
And Russia could easily do that because now they have access points that can only let certain stuff in through government-owned.
And they would be a government that would want to do that, you would think.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that definitely seems like it's right in Russia's MO.
Yeah.
So,
I want to see the aftermath, but they'll be in the news soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, what do you got next?
All right, last but not least, is NASA going to go to the moon this year? So, NASA did tell reporters that it hopes to move quickly to return to the surface of the moon, perhaps even by the end of this year.
That's a bit optimistic, but hey, NASA
that would be a nice Christmas gift, right?
Also.
Some new moon launches. Actual launch dates will depend on how quickly NASA's commercial partners can fulfill upcoming tasks. So they are working with
the new space
private,
race.
Some private endeavors to which we talked a little earlier about this. It seems like they're going to kind of have to go that way most likely, because their government funding is not
the greatest.
It's not what it used to be for sure. You know, I mean, we haven't been to the moon in
50 years.
Yeah.
50 years this year.
50. There you go. And that's why they're kind of looking at this, right? Because anniversary, they want to kind of do that.
I think it's great they're like helping these private companies that are the current push towards space. I mean, tourism is kind of the big focus right now.
Right.
But the fact that they're working with these companies just to try and get us up there is pretty amazing. So.
Well, we kind of touched on this earlier with each other, where wouldn't the moon be your initial destination? If you were going to explore space as a tourist, you would think the moon's the easiest place to get to.
Yeah. Good practice for Mars.
Right. Maybe. I mean, obviously, you could just go into orbit. That would probably be the absolute easiest. But if you're going to travel somewhere land, they're talking about lunar rovers and landers and an orbiting gateway.
You're going to have like a James Bond
around
base
the moon, which would be amazing. I mean, that just the concept of that is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think there's anybody who could say, "No, we don't want that. We definitely don't want that." I just think that's very cool, and like you said, from a tourist standpoint, it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would definitely travel there.
Yeah, why not? Say you go to the moon. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
All right. So, as always, thanks for watching us.
Thanks, guys.
Got some swag here. Definitely check that out. All the money used towards this goes towards purchasing things we usually destroy on our channel. So, got the 2GT mug there. Sweatshirt.
Yes, I have one at home.
Yeah. So, oops. All right, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.
Good night.